It varies from person to person, but it's one of the most common things, certainly when I'm talking to people. They fall frequently, and it's an ever-present risk. And I think one of the issues for many people is it's completely unpredictable, and there's so many negative consequences. You know, if you're out in the street and falling, it's embarrassing, and you just it's the wider impact of people kind of looking at you, and certainly the people I talk to tell me that it's a real issue for them. But equally, what they don't want us to do necessarily is to think about stopping falls, because they associate that with then stopping activities. So what we try and talk very much about is about working towards safe mobility. So continuing to do what you want to do in a safe way, which seems like a positive way to manage something that's sometimes quite negative. So falls prevention is really difficult. I think certainly key messages that I would take from it is if you've got symptoms that are unpredictable or you've noticed change, those seem to be key points at which falls are a risk. So if you've noticed something like that, then that's probably the time to be going to talk to maybe your healthcare professionals or someone about some advice to manage that. Changing little things. So we tend to, as humans, be really bad at taking other people's advice, but actually taking a photo of where you fell over and talking to someone else about it can be a really nice way for you to kind of just look at it in a dispassionate way and think, what tiny changes can I make that will mean that next time I'm in that place, I don't fall over. So little changes can sometimes make a big difference. Okay, so lots of studies have been done looking at risk factors for falling. Generally in the evidence, it's always quite big things. So for example, poor balance, but that's very, very complex, but the general kind of feeling. Progressive MS is associated with risk factors as well. And cognitive issues is often associated, but it's very generic. Some of the stuff that we've done in our research is suggesting that actually it's a little bit more complicated than that. For example, if you think about disease severity, actually it isn't a linear relationship that simply as you get worse, your falls risk goes up. It seems to do a kind of up, down thing. And those two humps in risk are associated with mobility change points. So the two key points, certainly in the work that we did, were when people first started saying, actually, my walking's been affected, and when people first start using their walking sticks or crutches or whatever permanently. So those key transition points. But equally with some other risk factors, so for example, spasticity, leg stiffness, our work suggests that actually it's the people who have the unpredictable spasticity, that some days they're quite stiff, other days they're not, that are far more likely to fall than those who've got a stiff, rigid leg. So simply things being worse isn't always the key. The other one that goes with that is with continence. People who have occasional issues and nighttime issues are far more likely to fall than people who have frequent issues. So don't just assume worse is bad in terms of falls risk, because it is about that variability sometimes. I think it's really important. We all do this if we fall over or in anything. We have a tendency to blame external factors. So, you know, I was walking along and I tripped over the cable, or the dog distracted me, or whatever. But actually, certainly what our research suggests is that often falls are just about doing life. So I think sitting, certainly immediately after a fall and going, why did that happen? You won't always come up with the most likely cause. I mean, we can never be 100% sure. So I would say take time and then either take a photo of it or write a full story. So we ask people to write a story about what happened, where were they, what were they doing, and how did it make them feel? And then talk to someone else about it. So what we found in our work is that talking to healthcare professionals, we're terrible at telling people what to do, but actually simply just getting a person to talk through what happened, the person will usually come up with the solutions themselves, because certainly my experience is people with MS are amazing problem solvers. So it's about mobilizing that ability And by talking it through, talking to another person with MS is another brilliant way of just getting that sense check of what was it about that scenario that meant I fell, and what tiny, teeny change can I make that might mean that next time it's less of an issue.